This book was produced in EPUB format by the Internet Archive. The book pages were scanned and converted to EPUB format automatically. This process relies on optical character recognition and is somewhat susceptible to errors. The Glory of Arunachala, translated by M.C. Subramanian Sri Raman as Ram Amtiruvannanamai 606603 2004. Copyright Sri Ramanasramam Tiruvannamalai 1st edition. Publishers note the Tamil translation of Arunahala Mahabhatmayam, Sanskrit, done by Sri Munagala S. Venkatamaya, later Sri Ramanananda Saraswati, compiler of Talks with Sri Ramana Mabarspi, is already published by Sri Ramanasramam. The English translation of this by Sri M.C. Subramanian was serialized in The Mountain Path. This has been reissued now and includes a few alterations and additions. A long-felt need of devotees has at last been realized with the publication of this in book form. An unavoidable feature of the original is the repetition of stories as compiled from various Sanskrit sources. This has been retained in translation in order to emphasize the glory of Arunachala as the main theme. Appended to the Arunahala Mahabhatmayam, English, which forms the main body of the text, is the Arunahala Puranam as vignettes, translated by Sri J. J. Raman from the Tamil poetic work of Seva Alapa Navalar, often referred to by Sri Bhagavan. This too originally appeared as a serial in The Mountain Path. Tiruvannanamai, the 1st of September 1999, V.S. Ramanan President Sri Ramanasramam. Contents page. Publishers note. Contents: Arunachala Mahatmayam, Sanskrit, Invocation 3 Part 1 Skanda Mahapuranam. Arunachala Mahatmayam, 1st Section 5 Part 2 Skanda Mahapuranam. Arunachala Mahatmayam, 2nd Section 85 Part 3 Shiva Rahasya, Upamanu Sivabhakta Vilasam. Arunachala Mahima, 157 Part 4 Shiva Mahapuranam. Vidyaswara Samhita. Arunachala Mahatmayam, 187. Vidyasara Samhita, 200 EV. Part V Skanda Upapuranam, Kshetra Kabandam, Sri Bhagavan's Arunachala Linga Pramana Vakyani Arunachala Puranam, Tamil, vignettes. Invocation Shiva Mahamna Stotra Ohara. Even the words of Brahma and other gods are inadequate to sing your glory. It is therefore impossible for an ignorant man to speak of your greatness. Nevertheless, this, my deep desire to describe you as indescribable, cannot be wrong. Even the Srutis could only indirectly describe you as, not this, not that, and your greatness as being beyond words and thought. How can one say what you are and who can visualize you? Yet, how can one remain without thinking or speaking of your revealed form? I am inclined to speak of your glory so that I may become pure. O Hill Supreme, when you stood as this column of effulgence, the utmost efforts of Brahma and Vishnu to realize your greatness were of no avail. Later, full of devotion and faith, they praised you and you appeared before them. Can devotion fail to achieve anything? The significance of Arunachala in the Sutta Samhita, it is said, Siva's very form is Linga, hence the term, Sivalinga. Later it will be found that the Supreme Being revealed himself as this Linga of fire. Greatness of Sivalinga as told in the Sutta Samhita. Linga is truly Shiva. All is revealed by Shiva, who is the very essence of consciousness and knowledge. Nothing can reveal him. Thus the Linga is the soul, self-shining reality. In brief, Shiva is consciousness unmanifest, whereas Sivalinga is consciousness manifest. Again it is said, that unto which all merge is the Linga. Everything is resolved into Brahman, but the Supreme Brahman being the sole eternal reality cannot. 6 Merge into another. All but Shiva merge into Shiva. Therefore the Linga is immortal Shiva himself. The whole universe is termed Linga, as the former is resolved and absorbed into and manifested from the latter. But the Linga is free from any emblem or characteristic mark. This Linga is unqualified, beyond darkness. It is the source of the sacred syllable pranava, Om. It is neither an entity nor a non-entity. Neither the pervader nor the pervaded, neither the knowledge, nor the knower or the known. Neither the manifest, the existing nor the unmanifest. Neither real nor unreal, or a mixture of the two. It is only the self-realized. It illuminates all by its light, neither decaying nor undecaying, neither moving nor inert. Neither the proof nor the proven. Neither the vital air nor the mind. Neither the seer nor the seen. Neither the image nor its reflection. Neither visible nor invisible. It is beyond speech and thought. It is not the eye, the ear, the nose, the earth, the ether, the vital airs or any object of the senses. To realize the self, inquiring in this manner, is true worship. This Linga, though not the ether nor different from it, yet reveals it. Though not light, reveals it. Though not air, yet makes it move. Though not water, yet gives it its nature. This Linga can be seen on a shining seat in the House of 9 Gates, never installed there by anyone but having faces, hands, feet, heads and seats in all directions. It lies beyond darkness, nothing can be seen there. It is revealed as the unqualified being by Vedanta. From it emerges the 7 magnificent earth and is resolved into it. The three qualities, namely, brightness, activity and darkness, sattva, rajas and tamas, of which the universe is made, manifests from it. Its size cannot be estimated, for it has no magnitude. It remains unbroken and unitary. All the spheres of the vast universe are located in it. It has no temple but contains all in itself. It is the inmost core of all beings. It is neither Isvara nor the Jiva but the inmost conscious self, bliss, non-dual reality unrelated to Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, Indra etc. It can be realized only by the self. It is the self, known to oneself and abides within. This is the supreme bliss, there is nothing apart from it. It is always worshipped by all. It is free from the three states of waking, dream and deep sleep. It is drik, pure, beyond knowledge. Neither the ignorant nor the all-knowing individuals or gods in the power of the ego or maya can see this linga. As this cannot be understood by all, out of his spontaneous infinite mercy, Shiva is here manifest as Arunachala, which all can see and worship. 8. The origin of the hill. Here at Arunachala, Shiva shines forth as the Yogi Supreme. With his forehead smeared with 3 lines of sacred ashes and adorned by a patch of musk, clad in a loincloth, wearing a brilliant garland, the invincible serpent on his body and the crescent moon on his head. Vyasa said, "The holy men of Naimisaranya asked Suta, 'We desire to know from you about the greatness of Arunachala, please tell us.' Suta thereupon described it as follows. In former times Sanaka asked Brahma the same question. I shall repeat what Brahma narrated to Sanaka. Listen attentively. The sins of those who listen with faith to this narrative will be destroyed. Once upon a time Sanaka, with hands folded in salutation, asked Brahma, 'O creator of the universe, Lord of the Devassal thou art. 9 Known through the study of the Vedas. 4-Faced 1. I have by thy grace acquired the ability to know everything. Thou art the universal guru. By thy grace the knowledge of Shiva, Savajnana, the essence of the Vedas, has become clear. Ocean of mercy. The divine lingas of Shiva on earth, installed by human beings or siddhibhyas, are all of a concrete form. Kindly tell me which of these lingas found in the island of Jambu, one of the 9 islands or landmasses into which the earth is divided according to Hindu mythology. India, situated in this island, is the purest, the best, self-created, full of effulgence and has the virtue of destroying desire, anger, greed, delusion, pride and jealousy. Ocean of compassion. Kindly tell me as to which of these can, by merely thinking of it, destroy all sins and grant the eternal state of Shiva. Please enlighten me about that linga which is the primal cause of the world and which truly represents the imperishable splendor of Shiva and the sight of which makes one feel that the supreme aim of life has been fulfilled." On hearing these eager words of Sanaka, Brahma was pleased. Sitting on the lotus he meditated on Sambhu, another name for Shiva, for a long time and was immersed in bliss. In this state he had a vision of Shiva as he had formerly revealed himself as a column of light. The 4-faced Brahma lost awareness of the surroundings. By Shiva's grace and on his instructions, Brahma emerged from his trance and noticed Kumara, literally the sun, Sanaka, standing in a worshipful attitude. With hair standing on end and with tears of joy brought forth by 10. The vision of Shiva, he spoke in a faltering voice, "O sun, you have made me remember the ancient yoga of Shiva. You have developed supreme devotion to Shiva as a result of great austerities. Those pure souls who possess unceasing devotion to the eternal Shiva purify the entire world by their lives. To talk, associate or sport with devotees of Shiva removes all sins. Even mere remembrance or sight of them removes all sins. Now I shall describe how Shiva, the ocean of grace, manifested as Arunachala, the light of consciousness. From the supreme effulgence which is the eternal Shiva, Narayana, Vishnu, and I were born in accordance with his desire. Both of us manifested spontaneously. Once, out of egoism, we engaged in an argument and started a fight. Seeing the terrible rage into which we had fallen while quarreling, the Lord reflected, why should there be a destructive fight between these two, as to who is greater? If I do not reveal myself immediately to both and stop their fight, the world will cease to exist. These two who have in their anger lost their senses, do not know the Vedic truth that my glory transcends everything. Each creature considers itself superior to every other creature. The ignorant who cannot realize and concede equality or superiority of another must necessarily suffer defeat and fall. I shall reveal myself in a definite form somewhere in the world, so that even a mean human being can attain me the moment he thinks of me. Having so decided, the eternal Shiva manifested himself as a column of fire before us. The column, 11, transcended all the worlds and its limits could not be perceived. Blinded by the sight, both of us stood still. We became confused and unnerved on seeing that blazing column of effulgence. Then there arose a voice in the air, "Children, why do you fight? Shiva alone knows your strength and weakness. The form of Sambhu has now appeared before you as a column of effulgence. He who finds out the beginning or the end of it is the greater of the two." Upon hearing these words we stopped fighting. To discover the limits of Sambhu in the shape of a beginningless and endless column of fire, one of us decided to trace the beginning and the other the end. Like a child who tries to seize the moon reflected in water, each of us began to measure the supreme effulgence in order to understand it. For this purpose, Vishnu in the form of a huge boar began to dig the earth vigorously to find the lower end. I took the shape of a swan and soared swiftly to find its summit. Madhava, Vishnu, bored into the earth and went beyond, but found that the column of fire went still lower. Even after seeking for millions of years, it was not possible to find out the source of that beginningless column of fire. Therefore Vishnu became dispirited and discouraged. He was weary and tired, and he was forced to return. Then Vishnu, whose intelligence is immeasurable, sought refuge in Shiva, the universal refuge, and began to think thus, On account of my immense stupidity caused by my ego, I forgot the Supreme Self, my Lord. He is truly the Supreme Shiva, the source of all the Devas, the 12 Vedas and the worlds. I was born out of him who is beginningless and endless. Assuming the form of a brute, I tried to gauge Shiva, who is of such greatness. By the grace of Sambhu, self-knowledge has dawned on me. When Lord Sambhu chooses to protect someone, the person will immediately and spontaneously lose his ego and gain wisdom. I am no longer strong enough to worship the universal Guru. Therefore I shall surrender unto him. Vishnu praised Shiva in this manner, meditated upon him, and by the grace of the Lord, he regained the surface of the earth. As for me, I was flying for many years until my eyes became dim and my wings tired. The splendid effulgence of Shiva in the form of a linga of light rose higher and higher. Siddhibhas who found me trying to reach the immeasurable top of the supreme effulgence exclaimed, This is nothing but ignorance. He is still putting forth his efforts. Even when the body is about to fall, the ego does not fade away. Even though his wings are broken and weary and his eyes dim, he is bound by the vain delusion that he can discover the limits of the limitless effulgence. Vishnu, who became similarly despondent, regained good sense by Shiva's spontaneous grace and retraced his steps. If a finite being desires to realize the effulgence which is the origin of Brahma and the Devas, he should dive within himself and meditate on Shiva, the Supreme Self, who will give him knowledge so that his ego will vanish. On hearing these kind words, I became humble and began to reflect thus. 13 Knowledge of Shiva can be attained only through Shiva's grace, not through the Vedas, nor austerities, nor dips in holy waters. Even though my wings are tired and my limbs too weak to move, my mind desires to nourish the ego. Alas! Always active and dependent upon the strength of the non-self, I have become despicable. My salutations to the Siddhibhas who have fixed their minds upon Shiva. I shall associate with them and perform austerities. I shall turn my mind inwards and realize this effulgence of Shiva which appears in front of me. The Devas have conquered their enemies by worshipping Shiva and have crowned themselves with glory. Even the great Vedic mantras do not throw light on his reality. Therefore I shall seek refuge with Shiva. I came into being through devotion to Shiva who wears the crescent moon. How strange that with the egos born of Shiva, both Vishnu and I fought each other, and that Sankara himself revealed his greatness and humbled our pride. He who worships the eternal Shiva, who is the Lord worshipped by the Devas as this column of light of consciousness, realizes Shiva, and serves as a boat to cross the ocean of samsara. 14.3 Parvati's penance at Kanchi Sanaka addressed Brahma thus, O Bhagavan. Having obtained the grace of Shiva through you, it has been possible for me to hear with joy the glory of Arunachala. I now understand that the beginningless and endless Shiva himself stands as the Aruna hill in order to grant the devotee the fruits of his penance, that the hill destroys all sins and that one obtains liberation by merely uttering Arunachala, once. All desires are fulfilled when one stands before it. All tendencies, vasanas, are destroyed. The very name, Shiva, is nectar. Repeating the name is itself worship of Shiva. Pray, tell me, who else worshipped Arunachala, the bestower of boons? On hearing this, Brahma, the Lord of the celestial beings, mentally prayed to the Lord of Arunachala, the embodiment of compassion, and resumed his narrative. 15 Child. I shall now narrate how in days of yore, the universal mother, goddess Parvati sought and won the left half of her lord, Arunachala. Once on Mount Kailas, it was springtime and the place was filled with the balm, incense and scent of beautiful flowers. Bees swarmed and hummed among the hanging clusters of flowers. Peacocks spread out their colorful feathers dancing to the tune of humming bees. Elephants and lions, natural enemies, strolled about in harmony and contentment. Sages chanted hymns from the Rig, the Yajus and the Samavedas, the last mentioned being most dear to Shiva. Brahmarisbas and Rajarisbas were deeply absorbed in the self, while Devas, Siddhibhas, Ganas, the protectors of the quarters and holy devotees of Shiva wearing sacred ash and Rudraksha beads stood in prayerful attitude. Hosts of Asparas, celestial damsels, sang and danced to the accompaniment of the sweet-sounding veena, a stringed musical instrument, the venu, the flute, the mridangam, a small drum, and other musical instruments. Lord Shiva and Parvati, the universal parents, sat on their throne in all their glory, pouring their grace on their children who were worshipping them. Devas, Risbas and other hosts of devotees, after being granted the boons they desired, prayerfully took leave of their lord. Now Lord Shiva rejoiced in the company of goddess Uma, Parvati, on the snow-clad peaks of the Himalayan mountains. A cool and refreshing breeze from the rivers below wafted gently, carrying with it the sweet scent of flowers from the plains. In a joyous mood the 16 goddess, who thought that her lord's attention was entirely centered on her, slipped behind him and playfully covered the 3 eyes of Sambhu with her lotus-like hands, and asked, "Tell me, who is it?" As soon as the 3 eyes representing the moon, the sun and the fire of knowledge were covered, a dismal darkness spread over the universe. It lasted for millions of years because half a moment for Shiva is eons for us. The darkness produced by the playfulness of the goddess proved to be the cause of the untimely dissolution of the worlds, for in the dense darkness no activities were possible and consequently, living beings perished without giving birth to new generations. The Devas became inert and the Vedas could not be chanted. By this unforeseen darkness cause and effects were nullified. Seeing this state of affairs, the ever-glorious Siddhibhas by their yogic powers discovered the cause, but could not comprehend the divine play of the Lord. The Siddhibhas prayed to Sambhu with devotion and addressed him thus: "Glory to Sambhu, the origin of the universe and the supreme immanent being. The power, Sakti, which is not apart from you sportfully creates, sustains and dissolves the universe. She, Sakti, is half of you. Shiva and Sakti together constitute a single form. The great Lord is one. There is nothing different from you. An untimely deluge has now overtaken the worlds on account of the goddess sport. But your compassion is infinite. May it reveal itself now for the well-being of the universe. Therefore, O Sadasiva, eternal Shiva, Kala, 17, embodiment of time, embodiment of compassion. Be merciful. Pray, stop this sport." In response to this prayer of devotees and siddhas, Shiva commanded, "Gauri, leave my eyes alone." Immediately the goddess removed her hands from Shiva's eyes. Light pervaded the worlds. On asking the siddhas who stood in an attitude of worship, as to how much time had elapsed, they replied, "Half a second for thee, but millions of years for us." On hearing this the Lord turned with a smile to his beloved and graciously spoke some words on Dharma and Artha. "Gauri, how can you be so thoughtless? You who are the mother of the world have been the cause for its dissolution. Oh, how can you, the very embodiment of love and compassion, cause pain to your children?" On hearing Sambhu's words of reproach, Uma, stricken with remorse, pleaded with him to advise her as to the course to be adopted for expiation of this fault of hers. At this Lord Shiva was pleased with the repentance and devotion of the goddess and said, "What penance can you perform without me?" All Dharma, Srutis, Vedas, Smritis, scriptures based on the Vedas, karmas, rituals, kalpas, code of virtues, various branches of learning, the devas, etc., are all your forms only. You who symbolize my power and who desire to recreate the world are not different from myself. Goddess, the timeless Vedas declare you to be the all. Therefore I shall prescribe a penance for you in accordance with prevailing practice. I cannot remain without you even for a moment. Being the universal self, I shall myself go through. 18. The austerities. Let the entire world become sacred by the glory of your penance. People will be relieved of all troubles by surrendering at your lotus feet. By having your darshan when you perform austerities and by association with you they, the devotees, will get sanctified. May you perform meritorious acts for the welfare of all creation. People will acquire firm faith in Dharma by seeing you performing penance. There is no doubt about it. Your grace shall sustain the earth and its Dharma. The city known as Kanchipuri is heaven on earth. A little penance done there yields boundless results. Even devas, saints and others desire to live there. There flows the holy river, the Kampa, which washes away the sins of all the people living in its vicinity. At that place there is a divine mango tree which is always shady, full of leaves and fruit. Homas, fire offerings, japas, repetition of sacred names, and the least good action performed under its shade yield boundless merit. May the many groups of celestial beings headed by Vishnu surround and worship you. I shall also remain there in the lotus of your heart in my formless state as the absolute pure being. Therefore you need not suffer the pangs of separation from me. On hearing this the goddess with her companions proceeded at once to the holy city of Kanchipuram situated on the banks of the Kampa to do penance. There she saw the pure and holy waters of the Kampa worshipped by hosts of sages and a magnificent mango tree full of fruits and flowers among which koals sang and sported. Amidst such a beautiful setting the goddess meditated on her 19 Lord. Her body, tortured by the pang of separation from her Lord, immediately became emaciated as if she had been performing penance for a long time. Turning to Vijaya, one of the maids who stood near her, goddess Gauri, in uncontrollable sorrow, spoke thus: "Those who perform austerities with the object of worshipping Shiva directly seek this sin-destroying mango tree and always live here. This well-known ekamra, lit. A mango tree which bears just a single fruit, increases my pain of separation. How am I to bear this? The sure remedy for this must be to remember and concentrate in the heart on Chandramuliswara, the wearer of the crescent moon." At this Vijaya bowed devotedly to Ambika and praised Shiva fervently in order that the goddess regain her composure. She said, "O Devi, you will not be abandoned by Shiva at any time. For, you are his very life and the supreme Sakti. It is only when you desire to spread out your Maya, power of illusion, that the Lord, though always one with you, appears to be separate. You have come here at the command of Sambhu to worship him and you cannot transgress it. You may perform tapas in this temple erected by Shiva without any rituals, karmas. Moreover, as you are yourself the world, the protection of the world is in your power. You will again join Shiva and uphold Dharma. That being so, Parvati, how can you feel the pain of separation? Devotee of Dharma, may your religious observances become known to the world and set an example to your devotees. 20 On hearing her maid speak thus, Gauri continued to practice austerities on the banks of the Kampa. She discarded her fine clothes and ornaments and wore the bark of a tree as garment and beads of Rudraksha. Her entire body was smeared with sacred ash. She subsisted on corn picked by herself. The name of Shiva was always on her lips. Thrice a day she bathed in the Kampa, lovingly shaped its sand into a linga and devoutly worshipped it with leaves as traditionally prescribed. The goddess observed the dharma of alleviating the misery of all creatures, thus showering her compassion on her children. In summer she surrounded herself with fire, lay on the bare ground in the rainy season and stood in ice-cold water in winter. She respectfully welcomed the holy sages, Mabharsbas, who came to pay homage to her. The sages were struck with wonder at her austerities. One day, Parvati collected flowers from the forest and began to worship a linga made of sand on the bank of the Kampa. Shiva, to reveal to the world her devotion to him, made the waters of the river Kampa suddenly rise and overflow its banks. Seeing the spate of the river, her companions raised an alarm, whereupon the Devi opened her eyes and saw the approaching flood. Distressed at the danger to her worship, she at once embraced the linga lest it dissolve. She then addressed her maids, "What is to be done? Worship ought not be discontinued, come what may. In this world, only those blessed ones who have acquired merit can reap the benefits of their good deeds and establish dharma which is capable of fulfilling one's desires. This 21 Sivalinga is made of sand. It will dissolve in this flood. Should this happen, a true devotee of the Lord cannot bear it. This flood has risen through the Maya of Shiva to test the sincerity of my devotion. I shall continue without the least fear. Friends, go away quickly." Saying this, Parvati, though surrounded by the fast-rising waters, devoutly adored the linga, clasped to her breast and with open eyes meditated on Sadasiva with one-pointed devotion. Then a divine voice was heard, "O child, noblest of beings! This great flood has subsided. You can now let go of the linga. This linga worshipped by you will achieve everlasting fame as the one worshipped by the gods and will be capable of granting boons. May your penance be successful. May the human beings who have darshpan and worship this linga installed for the upkeep of dharma attain their life's goal. I myself shine on this earth in the form of the effulgent Arunachala for the liberation of mortals. The name signifies that the accumulated sins of the worlds will completely vanish at the sight of it. Risbas, Siddhibhas, G and Bharvas, yogis, etc., come to Arunachala and fervently worship it, forsaking even the peaks of Kailash and Mount Meru. You may go there and learn from the sage Gautama about devotion to me and the glory of Arunachala and perform further penance. I shall reveal to you my effulgent form there in order that all sins of the world may be destroyed and may prosper." On hearing these words of Shiva, the Devi said, "So be it," and got ready to leave at once for Arunachala. Turning to the Risbas who desired to follow her, she said, 22 inches Devas, Rishis resolute in religious observances, remain where you are. Perform your austerities on the bank of the sacred Kampa. This linga of sand which removes all sins and brings all kinds of prosperity bears the marks of my embrace. Worship it. Let my devotees know that I shall be known as Kamakshi as I fulfill all their desires and bless them. Let them also worship me and obtain the boons they desire. I am entirely under the control of Sambhu, the Lord of the Devas. I shall therefore go to Arunachala and carry out his command. After I have performed penance there and obtained the grace of Sambhu, you may come and see me. 23 IV. Gauri arrives at Arunachala as narrated previously. Gauri at her lord's bidding came to Arunachala. There she worshipped with great fervor the effulgent Lord along with her companions to the sound of divine Dunbubas accompanied by the dancing of Asparas. As a result of worshipping the motionless lingo, in such a rigorous manner she became emaciated. On arrival, the goddess saw Siddhibhas, yogis, Risbas and Devas dwelling there. The Devas said, "Atri, Bhrigu, Bharadwaja, Kasyapa, Angirasa, Kutsa, Gautama and Siddhibhas, Vidbhyadbaras and Devas perform severe penances here for the fulfillment of their wishes. The Ganga and other sacred rivers worship this linga hill. This is the noble and divine linga known as Arunadri. The Mabharsbas prayed to her to be their guest, but she expressed her desire to see Gautama first, as per Siva's command. So they directed her to his ashram. 24 Gautama, foremost among sages, had gone out into the forest in the morning to procure flowers and other articles for worship. Devi went to his hermitage where she was received by his disciples with great respect and hospitality. With humility they entreated her to wait a little for the sage and sat around her. Gautama, returning from the forest with paraphernalia used for performing rituals, saw from a distance his ashram glow in resplendent beauty and wondered as to its cause. He then divined through his yogic powers that this was due to the arrival of Gauri. He hastened with great eagerness and joy to welcome the Mother of the Universe. His disciples came to meet him and informed him about Gauri's arrival. The elated Maharshi foresaw in the visit of the goddess the fruition of his austerities. Goddess Gauri came forward to welcome Gautama. Years of rigorous tapas had endowed him with a radiant countenance. Sporting a flowing white beard and red-brown rudraksha beads, smeared with sacred ash and clad in bark, the sage reached the front yard of the ashram chanting Vedic mantras dear to Rudra. His voice was deep and resonant, and his words brimmed with love and compassion like that of Shiva himself. The sage resembled the sun, such was his luster and benevolence. On seeing this great sage coming with his band of disciples, Uma, full of divine grace, her slim body resembling a creeper, folded her hands respectfully and made obeisance to the sage. When Gautama saw the mother of the worlds bowing to him, he restrained her from doing so and 25 himself bowed to her. He said, Gauri, welcome, auspicious mother of the universe, ocean of mercy, you seem to have come here for performing tapas, and yet you shower grace upon your devotees. O adorable goddess, but for a play of Maya how can the universe come into existence? It is impossible for anyone to comprehend or describe fully your Maya. Saying this, the old sage welcomed Ambika. With humility and respect he offered her a seat woven of sacred grass and water for washing her feet. After completing the worship he took a seat at the bidding of the goddess. With devotion and bliss overflowing and his voice choking with emotion, the sage addressed the goddess, Ah! This can surely only be the outcome of Sambhu's boundless grace. He who loves his devotees has sent you here with the object of protecting them. O Mother, is there anything wanting or not attained after seeing you? Bhagavati, be so gracious as to command me, thy servant, as to what I can do for you. 26v Gautama narrates the glory of Arunachala. On hearing the words of the all-knowing Maharshi, Ambika praised him and said graciously, It is because your glory is so great that Shiva, the Lord of the Devas, commanded me to meet you. You alone have reached the other shore of the Agamas and the Vedas. By your austerities you alone among the devotees of Shiva have become very dear to him. My Lord told me that he abides here as Arunachala and directed me to learn its glory from you. I have therefore come to practice austerities in the vicinity of Arunachala. By merely seeking you, one will obtain the grace of the Lord. The object of taking birth in this world is companionship with the devotees of Shiva, listening to his praise and worshipping him in all his forms. I look upon you as my father, for you are the personification of wisdom. Therefore, pray, kindly enlighten. 27 Me on the glory of Arunachala. On hearing Gauri speak thus, Gautama, the repository of austerities, meditated upon the Lord for some time and addressed the goddess. Gauri, you are the embodiment of universal knowledge and represent Shiva's divine illusion as Maya. What have I got to say about the glory of Arunachala that you are not already aware of? Probably, you love to hear from the lips of devotees about the greatness of your Lord. To speak of the greatness of Shiva is as auspicious as the study and recital of the Vedas. My austerities have borne fruit only now. By the grace of Hara and Gauri I am now going to describe the effulgent glory of Arunachala. This ancient, sacred lore shall be listened to with faith, devotion and enrapt attention by generations to come and shall be known as the glory of Arunachala. Even a million tongues cannot delineate fully how the formless, supreme being out of compassion took this holy form of Arunachala hill. Nay, even if a million Brahmas came together, they would fail to narrate his glory satisfactorily. Arunachala in this form was in former times worshipped by Brahma, Vishnu, Soma, the moon, Surya, the sun, Agni, fire, Indra and the other devas, Dikpalakas, the protectors of the quarters, Siddhas, Sharanas, Yaks Ba, Vidyadharas, G and Bharvas, Nagas, serpents, birds, divine sages, Siddha yogis and others, in order to get rid of their sins and to obtain the fulfillment of their desires. The Lord of Arunagiri is capable of removing all the sins of those who merely see him and of fulfilling all the desires of those who worship him. He is capable of granting 28 liberation even to those who utter the word Arunachala from a distance. It is well known that what is called Arunadri is the embodiment of effulgence. Yogis meditate upon it and attain union with Shiva. Offerings, sacrifices and japa made in its vicinity yield immeasurable results. In olden times, Brahma and Vishnu, who had come into existence from a tiny part of the effulgence of Shiva, became egoistic, and wishing to assert their supremacy fought with each other. Sadasiva, in order to destroy their pride, appeared in their midst as a blazing column of fire without beginning, middle or end, illumining the entire cosmos. They desired to ascertain what it was. So they assumed the forms of a swan and a boar and proceeded towards the sky and the nether regions respectively. Seeing them tired and distressed at being unable to find either beginning or end of the column of fire, Bhagavan, the embodiment of compassion, took pity on his children and emerged from the brilliant column with the intention of blessing them and granting the boons desired by them. Their pride now stood completely annihilated. At their request, Shiva took the form of a motionless hill known as Arunadri and also consented to abide there eternally in the form of a linga, so that they and other devotees could worship him as prescribed in the Agamas. This effulgent linga, in the form of a hill, was duly worshipped by the previous 96 Brahmas, creators of the worlds. 1. 1 According to Hindu scriptures, after each dissolution of the universe the creator Brahma merges with Sadasiva and the next in lineage becomes the creator. Thus what Gautama means is that already 96 dissolutions had taken place. This coincides with geological findings which put the core age of Arunachala as 3.8 billion years. 29 Gautama further related how Tilottama, the celestial damsel, was saved from the amorous advances of Brahma who in his lust wanted to covet her. When she sought refuge at the feet of Arunachala, the Lord saved her and chastised Brahma. Brahma implored Shiva for forgiveness. The Lord on his part bestowed his grace on Brahma and said, "The time which has already been allotted to you by me will not undergo any change. Not even the greatest are free from the evils of desire. Therefore, meditate upon the effulgent linga known as Arunachala and be rid of all your sins. All the evil produced by mind, speech and body shall be destroyed the moment one beholds Arunachala. This Arunagiri will cleanse all the sins of those who circumambulate it, prostrate it, remember it and offer flowers, or praise it with devotion. While mountains like Kailasa and Meru are my places of abode, this Arunagiri is my true form and here I abide eternally as this hill. By merely looking at its peak not only will all sins be destroyed but the eye of wisdom will be opened." Once upon a time one of the Brahmas who had come into existence from a tiny part of my person bathed in the Puesbikarini, sacred pool, bearing his name and got rid of his delusion. You who are in the form of the world, may also, after bathing in the Brahma Tirtha too and after offering flowers to me, silently go round the hill, get rid of your sins and be blessed. On hearing this, Brahma bathed in the pool and worshipped Mahesa who stood in the form of a mountain, too. This Brahma Tirtha can be seen inside the great temple of Arunachalaswara. 30 This Brahma worshipped Arunagiri with great devotion, with a mind made pure by control, Yama Niyama, got rid of his sins and became the Lord of the world. Gautama continued. Once Lord Narayana, the protector of the universe, having the thousand-tongued serpent Adisha, representing intellect and knowledge, as his couch, was reclining in the ocean of milk. Kshi Rasaga Ra, absorbed in Yoga Nidra and oblivious to the dissolution of the universe. The whole cosmic space was enveloped in complete darkness. The sages were worried over this state of affairs. They prayed to Lord Shiva. The Lord manifested himself before them with the object of protecting the universe. From the effulgent Sambhu, 33 crore devas emerged as sparks and scattered in all directions. These devas went to Vishnu and informed him of what had happened. He pondered. Overcome by darkness, ignorance, I fell into an untimely sleep, forgetting my real nature. Sadasiva, the supremely effulgent being, seems to have revealed his form in order to wake me up and taken upon himself the task of creating the worlds. What remains for me or Brahma to do? Then meditating on Sadasiva, Vishnu prostrated before him and repeatedly saluted him. Thus he absolved himself of his omissions. Whereupon, the protector of those who seek refuge in him, blessed Vishnu with compassion and bade him rise. Vishnu then stood up and prayed thus, Lord of the three worlds. Thou who once destroyed the 3 cities of the demons by thy laughter. According, 31 to the law of cause and effect, through the crores of devas thou performest deeds by thy will alone. Out of ignorance I fell into Yoga Nidra, O Sambhu. Kindly forgive my sin. When Hara, Shiva, heard Hari, Vishnu, lamenting in this manner he prescribed the following penance for Vishnu. I abide on earth in the form of Arunachala. The moment you set your eyes on it your ignorance will be destroyed. On a previous occasion I gave a boon to another Vishnu at that place. My manifestation at that time was known as the effulgent linga of Arunachala. That effulgent linga has cooled down for the sake of the world. Nevertheless, it is fiery, unmanifest and of untold glory. Since its effulgence is latent, streams, rivers and rainwater are absorbed by it. Moreover its glory gives sight to the blind, ability to walk to the lame, progeny to the childless, and speech to the dumb. Arunachala confers all siddhas, cures all diseases, destroys all sins and grants all boons. After declaring thus Mahadeva, Shiva, disappeared and Vishnu came to Arunachala. He practiced austerities and worshipped Arunachala. He visited the devas living in the forests around the hill and built holy ashrams for the sages. He recreated the Vedas, Vedangas and Upanishads, etc. He bathed in the Brahma Tirtha, circumambulated Arunachala, got rid of his sins and attained the lordship of all the worlds. Surya, sun, the lord of all the planets, in an attempt to cross over Arunachala, lost his splendor and could not proceed on his heavenly orbit. He then, on the advice of 32 Brahma, worshipped Arunachala, whereupon he regained his strength by his grace and was able to proceed on his course. Since then, Surya does not pass over the red hill, he goes around it. Further, the sun who was harassed by the asuras, demons, devoutly worshipped the Lord of Arunachala. He bathed in the holy Brahma Tirtha and circumambulated Arunachala. Thereby he conquered all the asuras and gained the ability to circumambulate Mount Meru. He also acquired the power to outshine all other celestial luminaries. Chandra, moon, who was harassed by the curse of Daksha Prajapati, worshipped Arunachala as advised by Shiva himself and regained his original form. Agni, fire, although tainted by the disease of consumption under the curse of a Brahmarishi, was cured by worshipping Arunachala. Indra had incurred sin by slaying Vritra, Bala, Pakal, Namuchi and Jairimba, who had in ancient times obtained boons from Shiva and had become lords of the worlds. He lost his vigor and his kingdom. As directed by Shiva, he worshipped Arunachala in the prescribed manner and got rid of his sin. Afterwards he performed a Swamedha Yaga and pleasing Shiva thereby, regained his status as Lord of Devas. The serpent Adishya worshipped the Lord of the Red Hill and acquired, by Shiva's grace, the strength to bear the earth. The other serpents as well as Tht Gandharvas, Siddhas, Asparas and Dikpalakas obtained the boons they 33 desired by worshipping the hill. The Devas who wished to conquer the Asuras paid their obeisance to Arunachala and obtained his grace. In ancient days the Devas who lost their limbs at the sacrifice of Daksha gained new limbs by the grace of Arunachala. Sukra, Aruna, a king named Pratardana, a Gandharva named Pushpaka and many others expiated their sins and regained their original forms by worshipping Arunachala. Such is his glory. The land within a radius of 3 yojanas, approximately 30 miles, of this place is famous as Savabhumi, the land of Shiva. Those who reside within this limit will certainly attain liberation. In olden days the 7 rishis, who were under a spell, worshipped Arunachala regarding him as their lord. The lord of Arunachala thereupon redeemed them. Grateful, they dug a tank near the hill, bathing in which all sins are removed. A sage who was lame, came to Arunachala hoping to regain his legs. Praying mentally, with crutches in hand and knees worn out, he proceeded to the bank of the river Sona to quench his thirst. Having left his crutches on the bank he began to drink the water. At that time someone pretending to be quenching his thirst first threw the crutches into the water and then asked him angrily, "How dare you come to Arunachala with crutches? Why do you need them?" Then he disappeared. The lame man at once regained the use of his legs. With folded hands he, 34 saluted Arunachala and proceeded towards his house. Other noble devotees of Shiva marveled at this miracle and saluted the lame sage who had regained his limbs. 3. Vali, the son of Indra, once tried to pass over Arunagiri while traveling from Udayagiri, the hill of sunrise, to Astamanagiri, the hill of sunset, but lost his strength and fell down to earth. Then Indra, his father, came and told him that this was no ordinary hill and extolled the greatness of Arunachala. Upon this, Vali worshipped the linga of effulgence and regained his strength. Nala, who was the personification of Dharma, worshipped this hill and ruled his kingdom in a just manner. He was transformed into a woman for entering the garden of Gauri. Not knowing why this had happened to him, he asked his preceptor, Guru, and, on his advice, worshipped Arunachala. He regained his original 3. There is a similar incident which took place at the beginning of the 20th century. It has been recorded by Devaraja Mudalir in his My Recollections of Bhagavan Ramana. There was an elderly cripple who was a very devout man and who used to circumambulate Arunachala in spite of his disability. After many years at Tiruvannamalai, he once got so vexed at the treatment he received from the relatives with whom he was staying and on whom he depended, that he decided in disgust to leave Tiruvannamalai and go away to some village and try to earn a living there. Before he left the outskirts of the town, a young Brahmin appeared before him and, with apparent rudeness, snatched away his crutches, saying, "You don't deserve these." Before the old man's indignation could get the better of him, he found he had recovered the use of his limbs and could walk without crutches. Bhagavan said he knew this case personally, remarking on its similarity to the case mentioned in Arunachala Sthala Purana. Bhagavan said that he knew that these things took place, but did not say who did them or how they happened. Some of his earlier devotees have told me it was really Bhagavan who was responsible for such miracles, and I am inclined to agree. 35 Masculine form. Soma, advised to think of Arunagiri always, did so, and obtaining by the strength of his austerities, the Lord's grace, got rid of his curse and also attained a state unattainable even by the immortals, Amaras. Hari felt great sorrow on account of his separation from his consort. But, on the advice of the sage Bhrigu, he worshipped Arunagiri and got over his sorrows in all his incarnations. Saraswati, Savitri, Sri Devi, Bhu Devi and other goddesses in the rivers were blessed and attained immortality by the grace of Lord Arunachala. Surya abides under the protection of Arunachala in the east, Visvamitra in the south, Varuna in the west and Trisaladeva, the lord of the trident, in the north. These 4 gods dwell on the hills which are at a distance of 2 yojanas and do obeisance to Arunachala. The gods who dwell in the 4 corners of Arunachala bow down to Shiva who abides in the form of Arunachala. On the northern peak of Arunachala there is a giant banyan tree. Maheswara sits beneath it in the guise of a Siddha. Its shade extends to a long distance around it. Even the gods look upon it in wonder. This hill shines with 8 lingas placed in the 8 quarters and is worshipped by the protectors of the respective quarters. There is a wish-fulfilling Bacula tree at this place. The sage Vamadeva is reputed to be performing meditation under it. Agastya and Vasishta worship the Lord of Varuna. In ancient days Sananada, the son of Hiranyagarbha, performed severe austerities and made the Ganga appear here. That holy river now flows here as the 36 Sona river. The sacred river named Vena flows round the hill. Bhagavan Marut bathed in the holy tank of Vayu in the quarter belonging to Vayu, and became the life-breath, prana, of the world. 37v. The glory of various tirthas around Arunachala and the northern side of the hill is situated the holy tank of Kubera containing lotuses of sweet fragrance. In the quarter belonging to Isanya, northeast, lies the holy tank of Isanya. The lotus-eyed Vishnu bathed in the holy tank on the western side. The 9 planets acquired their status as a result of bathing in it. Those who bathe in that holy tank obtain the blessings of the 9 planets. Durga, Vinayaka, Skanda, Kshetrapala, Saraswati, other gods and goddesses dwell round the holy tank of Brahma and protect it. The Ganga, the Yamuna, the Godavari, the Saraswati, the Narmada, the Sindhu, the Kaveri, the Sananada and the Sona rivers are reputed to flow unseen around Arunachala. It is said that by bathing in the holy tank of Agastya on the southern side, one acquires a knowledge of several 38 languages. Agastya bathes in it in the company of sages in the month of Bibhyadhyampada and worships Arunadri. By bathing in the holy tank of Vasishta on the northern side, one understands the meaning of the Vedas. Vasishta comes here from Mount Meru in the month of Aspia and, after bathing in it, meditates upon the Lord of Sona. In the month of Kartika, the Ganga and other holy waters arrive here together and worship Arunadri with devotion. By worshipping the holy tank of Brahma in front of Arunadri, great sins like killing a Brahmin are expiated. Brahma comes here daily in the month of Margazi and after bathing in it, offers flowers to Arunachala. In the month of Pushya, Indra arrives with the Devas, and after bathing in it salutes Sankara. There is also a great tirtha named Savam in front of Arunachala. Rudra bathes in it holding in his hand the Brahmakapala, the skull of Brahma. Sambhu graciously dwells in it in the company of his followers in the month of Maja, and thereby absolves people of their sins. Agni bathed in the auspicious Agni Tirtha situated in the quarter of Agni, southeast, and obtained goddess Svaha for his consort. Kama, the god of love, bathed in it in the month of Falguni and by worshipping Sanadri, became the lord of all pleasures. Brahmarishis always dwell joyfully at the Vaishnavatirtha, sacred tank of Vishnu, on the southeast. Vishnu goes there in the month of Chitra and after bathing in it, meditates upon the lord of Arunadri. It is by doing so that he became the lord of all the worlds. The Surya Tirtha, sacred tank of Surya, the sun, situated in the quarter of Kubera, north, is capable of 39 curing all diseases. Bhagavan Surya comes there in the month of Vaikasi and after bathing in it, adores the Lord. The Asvini Devas bathed in the pure Asvini Tirtha, sacred tank of the Asvins, situated in the quarter of Isa Brahma Uttara, northeast, and became pure. The Pandava Tirtha, sacred tank of the Pandavas, situated at the foot of Arunachala is well known for its auspicious qualities, and is capable of fulfilling desires and bestowing liberation. The Pandavas bathed in it and became the lords of the world. Bhu Devi, goddess earth, was blessed with all herbs and fruits as a result of bathing in it along with all the devas in the month of Jyeshta. The Vaisvadeva Tirtha, sacred tank of the Visvadevas, situated in the quarter of Soma Surya Uttara, northwest, is famous for bestowing lordship of the world. The Visvadevas, although very powerful, could not obtain their share of sacrifices. They therefore bathed in it in the month of Ashada, adored Shiva, and thereby overcame their disability. By bathing in the famous Indra Tirtha, sacred water of Indra, situated in the east, goddess Lakshmi was wedded to Lord Vishnu. By bathing in the Skanda Tirtha on the north, Skanda became very powerful. Agastya Kumbhaka and Kumbha always dwell in the Kumbha Tirtha on the west, famous for its holiness. The Ganga worships Arunachala at its feet, the Yamuna in the middle and the Narmada at the top. There are many other Tirthas also. Even sage Markandeya did not know all of them. That king of sages pleased the Lord by his austerities and lovingly begged 40 for the following boon. Bhagavan Arunadri. There are thousands of Tirthas. They will not be visible to persons of meager knowledge. How can men find them all in one place? It is not possible for a man to worship them one by one. You must withdraw all your effulgence within yourself and manifest as Sanadri worshipped by all the devas who are afraid of approaching you. Gautama continued. I too by the grace of Shiva adored him in the form of Arunachala and worshipped the invisible linga for the benefit of the entire world. A celestial pavilion was constructed here by Yisvakarma. Various festivals and celebrations were introduced. Sages found several kinds of scriptures dealing with Dharma and conducted the worship of Shiva in accordance with them. I also appointed 7 noble maidens sprung from the sacrificial fire for the worship of Shiva. In olden days the Lord of Sanasela was specially worshipped by many kings who had regained their kingdoms after conquering their enemies. This linga in the form of a hill is blemishless and is named Animalai. The Lord of Arunagiri, who grants boons, should always be meditated upon. Lorchanate indeed are the noble souls who have acquired boundless merit by worshipping the Lord of Arunachala who protects his devotees and absolves them of sins the moment they think of him. May you too meditate upon him and achieve your object. 41.7. The glory of various tirthas Parvati inquired. How did this linga of fire come to exist on earth? How did it become cool and easily visible to all beings? How are the holy waters rising from this sacred hill withdrawn into it? You must enlighten me. Gautama said, this hill was a mass of fire in the Krita Yuga, jewels in the Treta Yuga, gold in the Dvapara Yuga and emerald in the Kali Yuga. In the Krita Yuga, when it spread out for several yojanas as a mass of fire, Maharshis circumambulated it. Thereafter, at the humble prayer of the Devas, Bhagavan Arunachala gradually became cool. Gautama continued, the Devas prayed thus, Bhagavan, Lord of Arunagiri, although your nature is fiery you must illuminate the world in a cool form. The Vedas regard you as the embodiment of Shiva and proclaim 42 you as that which is copper-colored, bright, crimson red and wholly auspicious. Salutations to you who are known by the Vedas and who are Soma and pure bliss. The whole world, moving and unmoving, is your form. Therefore it is your form that is seen as Devas. You produce at the end of yugas, cloudbursts, flooded streams and overflowing oceans. For it is said in the Vedas, from fire, water came into existence. It is therefore said that the world came into existence from you who are the Supreme Self. O Mahadeva, Sunashala, ocean of compassion, O Lord, let all men know you. When the Devas humbly prayed, the Lord who loves his devotees immediately became cool and visible to all. Thereafter rivers and streams began to flow. Rains falling from the clouds were no longer withdrawn into the hill. An effulgence bright as millions of rising suns can be seen in the eyes of enlightened jivas who worship it. In accordance with the prayers of the Dikpalakas, Devas, Maharshis and other great souls, all the Tirthas wander around the hill. Brahma said. On hearing these details, Gauri inquired with great enthusiasm about the true origin of the Tirthas. She asked, O Bhagavan, which of the Tirthas here are invisible and which are visible? Please tell me. Gautama recollected what Shiva had formerly told him and said, the Indra Tirtha is situated in the east. Indra got rid of the sin of killing the Brahman by bathing in it. The Brahma Tirtha is situated in the quarter of Agni, southeast. Agni's sin of seducing the wives of others was 43 removed by bathing in it. On the south is the Yama Tirtha. Yama was saved from the fear of Brahmastra, a divine weapon, by bathing in it. On the southwest is the Nayarda Tirtha. The Risbas conquered the bee Buddhas and Vedalas by bathing in it. On the west is Varuna Tirtha. Yaruna obtained an ever-full quiver by bathing in it. On the northwest is the Vayu Tirtha. Vayu attained the power of becoming the life breath of the world by bathing in it. On the north is the Soma Tirtha. Chandra, moon, was cured of consumption by bathing in it. On the northeast is the Isana Tirtha. Vishnu attained goddess Shri for his wife by bathing in it. In olden days, Markandeya bowed down to Isvara and prayed, Sadasiva, Mahadeva, Deva of Devasal Lord of the world, Sankara Bhagavan, you must tell me the means of bringing together at this place all the various Tirthas. On hearing this the Lord of Uma was greatly pleased and described to him the means. All the Tirthas abide unseen in my presence at the time of my worship and adore me. Great sage, you need not go anywhere seeking Tirthas. At the time of my worship all the Tirthas come together to this place. Therefore devotees, all sages and devas may see the congregation of all Tirthas here immediately after Naivedya is offered to me. Goddess. In olden days Shiva described to Markandeya the means of seeing all the Tirthas. All the sacred Tirthas are visible in front of Shiva at the time of worship. On hearing the words of the sage, the daughter of the king of the mountains was pleased and said, the goal 44 of my life has been attained by me, by duly learning from you the means of worshipping the wonderful Tirthas on earth. O glorious performer of austerities! The benefit of all the Tirthas has been obtained. I thank you. Shiva himself has commanded me to do penance here. How shall men worship on earth the Supreme Lord Parameswara who, although really terribly fiery, is also cool in the form of a hill? 45-8. Worship of Arunachala. Gautama said, Goddess, hear what happened long ago. At Sankara's command I visited places sacred to him, such as Kedar, Badarakasrama, Kasi, Sri Parvata, Kanchipuram, Tiruchuji etc. I worshipped the lingas installed by sages and great yogis and bathed in the Tirthas. I practiced austerities along with my disciples and performed yajnas, sacrifices. Finally I had darshan of Arunadri, the linga in the form of the famous hill Arunachala. Here, I saw Tapasvins who were engrossed in penance and worshipping Sonagiri, subsisting upon roots. Seeing their devotion I too fell in love with this great linga and with great fervor began to adore Arunachala which had first been worshipped by Brahma. I prayed, Lord of Arunachala that art acclaimed by the Vedas in the words, Asau Yastamra Aruna Utab Babru Sumangalab. Shiva, 46 the Supreme Self. Thou that art the embodiment of Vedas. Eternal One, Slayer of the God of Time, Kala Kala, beloved of thy devotees. Destroyer of the three cities. Lord of the Devas, by merely looking at thee one obtains the merit that accrues by following all the dharmas. One need not practice austerities thereafter. Even the Devas wish to dwell in this abode of thine. Time being now propitious for me, I have the good fortune of dwelling here. The austerities practiced by me have enabled me to see thee. Thy form is awe-inspiring. Nowhere else in the world can one see a linga in the form of a hill. This form constitutes the three gods, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. It controls the three phases of time as well as the three kinds of powers, Saktis. This wonderful linga is the essence of the three Vedas. Thou abidest on earth in this form as the famous Sanadri, Red Hill, for protecting the three worlds. In front of me I see that form, most auspicious, most compassionate and the refuge of all jivas. Pray, save me. Arunahala, whom I praised in this manner, revealed thereupon his divine form to me, called me to his side and, after listening to the praises sung with such great devotion, said, I am greatly pleased with you. You shall worship me according to ancient custom and perform austerities and thus proclaim my glory to all. When you were practicing austerities on the Kailasa mountain I ordered you to come to the southern country and worship Arunahala. The Saptarishis worship me on earth in the same way and do good to all living beings through the power of their austerities. Worship me in accordance with 47 the method laid down in the Agamas. This glorious and divine method of worshipping me is worthy of being seen even by the Dev as of Swarga. Make it clear to all that Arunahala in this physical form, composed of earth, is truly Shiva. There are ever so many virtuous souls who, having formerly worshipped me, are now living on earth in great joy. As you are superior to all of them you must clearly expound the proper method of worshipping Shiva. On being commanded thus by the Lord, I bowed down to him and reverently asked him, how can I worship the Lord who is fiery and unapproachable? How am I to carry out thy command? Kindly tell me how I am to understand thy words. The Lord of Arunahala then replied as follows, I shall describe to you the lingas on earth which are in their subtle form. You may worship me in accordance with the Agamas and with the power of your austerities. Saying this, Swayambhu revealed himself to me as Shiva. On seeing this linga adorned with all kinds of ornaments, I felt that the goal of my life had been attained. I again begged Shiva who is fond of his devotees, thus, how can name and form be attributed to thee who cannot be described even by the Agamas? Who can worship thee with flowers? Where is the temple for thee? Or how is one to be built? Which is the hymn to praise thee? In what manner art thou to be worshipped? Who is thy bodyguard? How is one to make people believe that ever so many celestial beings, devatas, always abide in thy presence? Supreme Lord, thou must kindly explain all this to me. 48 When I prayed thus, the Lord ordered Visvakarma as follows. You must create here a divine and noble city named Arunahala. You must also build in it a divine temple adorned with jewels. Arrangements should be made in the temple for chanting the Vedas and for singing, dancing and playing musical instruments as part of my worship. The peerless Sambhu then explained to me the proper order of chanting his different names while offering flowers and the rules prescribed for it. He said, Gautama, I shall describe how mortals should worship me. Listen. Know also who are the persons to be appointed for my worship. You must worship Arunahala which appears as a lustrous and immeasurable linga on earth, for the welfare of the entire world. Let my power, Sakti, which is inseparable from me and sustains the glory of this temple be installed on my northern side and worshipped as a Pitaka. The Lord of Arunahala is fond of her and never parts from her. Let offerings be duly made to him. Let Sundaraswari be worshipped during auspicious festivals. Since Bala Ganapati is the bestower of all prosperity, let him be well adorned and worshipped in front of me. Nataraja who is fond of dancing, Amritvara and Parasakti should also be worshipped. Let the goddesses who remove obstacles be installed on the southern side, and Skanda who carries the weapon known as Sakti, on the northeast. I should be worshipped in the innermost shrine, Malasthana, Dakshinamurti in the south, Maha Vishnu. 49 In the form of Agni in the west, Brahma in the east and in a separate shrine on the northern side, goddess Unnamalai should be well adorned, accompanied by all the devas and surrounded by the Dikpalakas. The extremely glorious devas, the fully adorned Ks Betrapalaka, the protector of the temple, devatas who maintain the traditions, should all be worshipped for ensuring the prosperity of the temple. Monthly festivals should be grandly celebrated. Let Dixpatars who are learned in the Vedas, virtuous, prosperous, pure in heart and well versed in the Agamas of Shiva, be appointed for rendering divine service. Let highly accomplished persons be engaged to play on musical instruments at the time of worship. Let Pandits learned in Sadvidya and Siddhyadarvidya and Ks Bhatriyas, Vaisyas and others who are devotees of Shiva be encouraged to settle here. Let mutts be constructed on all four sides for the accommodation of pilgrims and the residence of ascetics, sages and devotees of Shiva. Let Pasupadas, a sect among Saivites, Kapalikas, another sect who use Kapala, human skull, in their rituals, and Sivayogis live in these mutts, beg their food and worship Shiva. The kings should protect this place without violating my commands. There is a Makisba, Jabakuld, tree at this place. All temple affairs should be decided under it. Money offered to the temple will yield boundless merit. I listen to the prayers of devotees at that spot and grant the boons desired by them. I pardon all the faults of those who adore me. I accept the worship conducted by mortals as laid down in the Agamas. Pious acts performed by my devotees. 50 Please me, O sage. You must examine the Agamas and prescribe the methods of worshipping me. Let special pujas be conducted on full moon days. Let thousands of atras, inns, supply free food on that day. Let everyone make gifts according to his ability. There is no doubt that those who keep a light burning continuously before me, will become effulgent beings like me. Having heard these words of Sambhu, my doubts were cleared. I bowed to the Lord of Arunagiri and prayed to him. Gautama said to Shiva, I wish to learn from thee thy names which are to be used during worship in this temple. Thereupon the Lord said, O sage, listen to my names which fulfill all desires. The names of Shiva are Arunachala, 1 Sonadrisa. Lord of the Red Hill 2 Arunadrasab. Lord of the Crimson Hill 3 Devadbasab. Lord of Devas 4 Janapriyab. Beloved of people 5 Prapanaraxbakab. Protector of those who seek refuge with him 6 Dira. Brave 1 7 Sivab. The auspicious 1 8 Sevakavardakab. He who is devoted to his votaries 9 Amardazanab. Lord of the Nectar 10 Stripambhava. Granter of birth as Pradayakab man or woman. 5111 Bhaktavinapti. He who answers the Samadbhata prayers of his devotees 12 Dinabandha. He who releases the Vimachaka lowly from bondage 13 Mukarangripati. He from whose footfall sound originates 14 Shriman. The noble 115 Murda. He whose form is bliss 16 Mr. Gamadisvarab. He who is fond of musk 17 Bhaktaprakshanakrit. He who makes his devotees his messengers 18 Saxpi. The witness 19 Bhaktadasmanavardakab. He who removes the delusion of his devotees 20 Sangitaveda. He who is expert in music 21 Enratajnab. He who is proficient in the art of dancing 22 Trivedi. Lord of the 3 Vedas 23 Vrddbavaidikab. The ancient one of the Vedas 24 Tyagaraja. The ocean of compassion 25 Kirpasindhub. The merciful 126 Suganbi. The sweet-scented 127 Saurabhishvara. The Lord of the Bull 28 Kartavirisvarab. The Lord of Kartavirya 29 Santa. The peaceful one 5230 Kapali. The wearer of skulls 31 Kalasaprabhub. The Lord of the ceremonial pitcher in which all gods are worshipped 32 Jananasambanbanatab. Lord of Jay Nanasambanda 33 Sri Halabalasundarab. The Lord who consumed the deadly poison 34 Abvesvaryadata. He who confers prosperity spontaneously 35 Smard R Sarvadbanasanab. He who removes the impurities of those who think of him 36 Vyadistanradyub. He who raised the left foot in dancing 37 Dbiwajabirk. Bearer of the banner 38 Sakantib. The bright 139 Natseb. Lord of dancing 40 Samapriyab. Lover of the Sama Veda 41 Papabarab. Destroyer of sin 42 Vedamordib. Embodiment of the Vedas 43 Niranjanab. The taintless 144 Jagannabhab. Lord of the world 45 Mabadevab. The great God 46 Trinatrib. The three-eyed God 5347 Tribarantakab. Destroyer of the 3 cities 48 Bhaktaparabhasoda. He who pardons the faults of his devotees 49 Yogisab. King of yogis 50 Boganayakab. Lord of enjoyments 51 Kalamurdib. Embodiment of time 52 Kayasbamarupi. Embodiment of forgiveness 53 Dharmaraxbakab. Protector of Dharma 54 Vrs Badwajab. He whose banner bears the emblem of the bull 55 Harab. The destroyer 56 Jorisvarab. Lord of the hill 57 Sibandarek Bhavatamsakab. The wearer of the crescent moon 58 Smarantakab. The foe of Kama, Cupid, 59 Anbakaripub. The destroyer of the demon Indaka 60 Sibarajab. The all-powerful 161 Digambarab. He for whom the quarters are clothed 62 Isanab. The originator 63 Devadabab. Diva of Devas 64 Basmaradroxba. The wearer of the lance Banab sacred ash and Radroxba beads 65 Sribadib. Lord of wealth 5466 Sankarab. The gracious 167 Srashta. The creator 68 Sarvavoidisvarab. He who is well versed in 69 Anagab. The arts he who is faultless 70 Gangadbarab. The wearer of the 71 Krachadibi Vamsi. Ganga destroyer of the sacrifice 72 Vimalab. He who is without 73 Nagabasbanab. Blemish wearer of the serpent 74 Arnab. He who is fiery and 75 Babarupab. Therefore without form he who has many forms 76 Virapakshpab. The possessor of the 77 Axbarakardab. Infinite I he whose form is 78 Anadaradharabhidab. Axbara he who has number 79 Sivakamab. Beginning or end he who desires the well 80 Swayamprabhab. Fair of all he who is his own chief 81 Satsabidanandarupab. He whose form is 82 Sarvatma. Being consciousness bliss the self of all 83 Javadbarakab. The supporter of all 5584 Strisangavamasubhaga. He from whom emanates Sakti, power, and who is the most beautiful 185 Vibhatasundarab. The one who is beautiful when taken out in procession 86 Jananapradab. The teacher of wisdom 87 Muktidab. The bestower liberation 88 Bhaktavankvidadayakab. Granter of devotees prayers 89 Askbaryavabhavab. The possessor of wonderful glory 90 Kami. He who is full of love 91 Niravadbhyab. He who is free from evil 92 Nidbipradab. The bestower of wealth 93 Sarvanami. The possessor of all names 94 Manovasab. The dweller in the mind 95 Sarvab. The lord of all 96 Arunahala. The lord of Arunagiri. These are my principal names. Remember also the divine names mentioned in the Puranas. Worship me every day with these names and as prescribed in the Agamas. 56 Ix. The glory of circumambulating Arunachala. Worship me especially by circumambulating me every day. For I, the Lord of Sunashala, am pleased when devotees circumambulate me. Gautama continued. As the Lord commanded, I always live here and worship Arunachala. Upon this Gauri asked the sage, knower of all Dharmasal Gautama, kindly describe to me the glory of circumambulating Arunachala. When is it to be done and how? Who are they who have till now circumambulated it and attained their objects? Who has attained the supreme state by doing so? Gautama replied, Goddess, hear what the great Shiva told me. He said, while I abide gloriously on earth as Arunachala, all the devatas and munis circumambulate me. At every step that one takes on the path round me, all the 57 sins committed in one's past lives are expiated. By circumambulating me, one obtains the merit of performing thousands of horse sacrifices, innumerable vijayapiyas, a particular sacrifice, and bathing in all the tirthas. Even a great sinner who has no good deed to his credit can attain all kinds of powers by circumambulating me. Merit acquired by bathing in all the tirthas, by performing all the sacrifices, by studying all the scriptures and by following all the dharmas can be easily acquired by merely circumambulating Sunashala. One attains this world, i.e. the earth, at the first step, the middle world at the second step and the world of the dev as at the third step. At the first step sins committed mentally are destroyed, at the second the sins committed by speech and at the third the sins committed by the body. There are thousands of ashrams of munis and siddhas and abodes of devas around me. I myself abide here always in the form of a siddha worshipped by the devas. Let one imagine a divine abode gloriously existing within me. What is known as Arunadri is really a column of effulgence. Meditating on this great linga, one should circumambulate it slowly. If one does so, all sins will be expiated. One will not be born again and will certainly become eternally one with Sunashala. The moment one takes a step with the intention of circumambulating Sonagiri, the very earth becomes extremely pure by coming into contact with the dust of one's feet. At every point of the compass one should meditate and bring the palms together in praise in 58 Reverence. One should walk carefully, slowly and noiselessly. Before setting out, a bath should be taken, clean clothes should be put on, sacred ash applied on the body, and Rudraksha beads worn. While circumambulating, one should meditate on Shiva. Thousands of invisible manus, devatas, siddhapurushas and others accompany a devotee who circumambulates in this manner. Therefore a wise man should, even amidst a crowd, tread with great care regarding the hill as divine. One may also walk in the company of devotees singing the sacred names of Shiva and dancing. Alms should be given on the way according to one's means, and one should remember Shiva in the heart with love and devotion. This hill is incomprehensible, being beyond speech and thought. It is unapproachable, being a mass of fire. It is the absolute and therefore called the supreme.